What's happening YouTube? Hashtag Tom here and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today is the one. It has been specially requested for weeks upon weeks. You already know what it is by the title. Custom tactics video has finally arrived. Now these are the custom tactics that got me 39 weekend league and what I use in all pro tournaments, so they are tried and tested by now. I didn't want to release a video until I knew exactly what my tactics were going to be, and I didn't want to jump the gun and start telling you things that didn't work, but I think now we're 2 months into FIFA, coming up 3 months, so I think I can definitely show you what I use and I can feel confident in what I use. I'm also going to give you a rundown on why I use certain instructions, why I use certain tactics. So even though the video may be a little bit long, trust me, it's worth it. I'm going to give you an in-depth explanation of why I use everything. And you know what I'm going to say by now. If you do enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe and we'll get straight into these tactics and see what we're up to. So as you can see on the screen, I have 4 game plans set up. I'm going to go through each one, but there's 2 that I normally use the most, and it's the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-3-1. I'm going to start with the 4-2-3-1 because this is a formation that I use in FIFA 20 a hell of a lot, virtually every single game, and it's one that I still use heavily in FIFA 21, but not as much. As always, we are balanced in defense. I see no impact of going drop back because your team sit too deep, you invite too much pressure, and in the end, you will concede goals. I narrow the width when we defend because I think if you can't let them beat you through the middle, they're going to have to do something special out wide to get round you and beat you. Although wing play is fairly used a lot in FIFA 21, I think if you have it open in the middle and you go 10 width, you're going to ask for trouble. They're going to get easier one-on-ones. And for depth, we have 6 depth. This is because I like playing a manual press. I do it a hell of a lot myself, and I want to win the ball high up the pitch. And for the offensive style, I go for balance. This is because I use a lot of manual runs. I use L1 and R1 a lot, and if you're not using them, you need to get them in your game. For the offensive width, I have this at 4, and that's because I want to narrow it up a bit. I want players running into the box. You'll see in my instructions later as well. I want my Ram and Lamb to get involved in the play. If my right attacking mid has the ball, I don't want my left attacking mid getting chalk on his boots. I need him tightened up a bit closer. For the players in the box, I've kept this at 5, and I have good reason to do this because I think instructions are more important than players in the box. Basically, if you put 10 players in the box, I don't think your defenders are going to get in the box. So either way, it's going to be the same sort of players. It's going to be your striker, your cam, your right mid, your left mid, and potentially one of your centre mids or both. But from my experience of FIFA, and this goes for other FIFAs with these custom tactics, is the instruction for this definitely overrides the players in box team instruction. And when I say the instruction for this, I mean the player instructions, which we're going to get onto soon. And as we see, corners and free kicks are both 2. This is because I don't think corners and free kicks are that effective in FIFA. You can cross the ball a bit more in FIFA 21 compared to FIFA 20. Obviously, corners can be a bit more effective if you've got good headers of the ball. I think the main thing from corners is to try and build an attack, go short, and not get countered. I see a lot of people getting countered from corners. For me, the same logic applies for a free kick because any free kick you have, if you're not going to shoot it, you're probably going to pass it short. For this reason, I go with 2 because the risk versus reward factor is not high enough to go any higher than that. You might as well play everything short or try and shoot from a free kick. And let's get into the formation instructions quickly. The formation is the 4-2-3-1, the narrow variation, because I think this is a bit more attacking than the wide. And let's get into the instructions with Alisson. I have him on balance for both, and that's because he has the rush out of goal trait anyway. But I would always advise keeping it on balance because if you want your goalkeeper to run out, you can just hold triangle or the game will do it for you. And I've noticed when the game does it for you, because the player has that trait, they never really make the mistake. It'd have to be like a bad glitch. And we'll go on to the fullbacks, and I have my fullbacks on stay back whilst attacking. This is because on balance, I feel like you can't keep the ball well enough when you're trying to play out from the back. I feel like your fullbacks start too high. So put them on stay back whilst attacking. They can stay in a back 4 with the 2 centre backs. They don't get too carried away. I don't have them on overlap or underlap. I have them on mixed attack because sometimes they need to underlap. Your right attacking mid will start wide. Sometimes your right attacking mid will be narrow and they need to overlap. Also, for any interception on any tactic, never, ever, ever use aggressive interceptions because it absolutely drains stamina. For this reason, I keep it on normal interceptions. You'll see as well, it's the same tactic for Mendy. The main key is stay back whilst attacking because otherwise the fullbacks will start too high and they won't be an option when you play out. Same for the centre-backs. Both centre-backs are on stay back whilst attacking. Being honest, if you need Gomez and Varane to get you goals, there's something going wrong. You don't need these two bombing forward. On to the right defensive midfielder. And it's key that I say right defensive midfielder here because I have a certain plan for him. I have him on cut passing lanes because I believe that when they're on man mark, it doesn't really work the way it should. And I think when it's on cut passing lanes, the player gets in the way of the striker a bit more. Obviously, a lot of people's intention on FIFA is to get it into the striker's feet. And when you run and charge at them, they're sort of like cutting the passing lane as they do it. So I go cut passing lanes, stay back whilst attacking, because obviously if he's the stiff holding midfielder, he's the guy that can't really do much. He doesn't need to be getting too far forward. We keep him on stay back whilst attacking. The last instruction is cover centre, and that is because mainly the danger men are the strikers. A lot of people on FIFA 21 are playing with two strikers. So get your DMs to cover the centre, because in that way, it means that they can stop the ball getting to the striker's feet. That is the main aim from my midfielders. I do not want them to get it to the striker's feet. And on to the left DM, where we actually have the same sort of instructions, cut pass lanes, cover centre, but we have balanced attack. And that is because I like to play with one DM who's a natural anchor man. We're talking greats of the game like Kante, Vieira, Wes Tanser, them sort of players. And then left DM, we have someone a bit more attacking to complement them. In this team, I've got Renato Sanchez at the minute. I have been using Bruno as well. They're on balance to basically support the attack a bit more and arrive late into the box. And now the Ram and Lamb, I'm using Felix and Mbappe at the minute. The reason I've come back on defence, you're going to think, oh my days, Tom's negative, he's boring. I have him on comeback on defence because of the way the through balls work this year. I put Felix and Mbappe both on comeback, basically to try and stop their fullbacks from playing them glitchy through balls either to the striker or their left mid. I hate them so much. They're also on getting the box for cross. This is because I want them involved in the attack. I need them making runs. I need them coming in narrow, which links with the width that I mentioned earlier. I also have my right attacking mid, left attacking mid on stick to position. I haven't really noticed any success with the free roam or the drift wide. I think keeping them in their position, manually triggering their runs, and you will be fine. And for the cam, which is Neymar, the magic man, the man that gets things done, I haven't actually changed Neymar at all. The only thing I change about him is if I'm struggling in a game and I'm struggling to create chances, I do put him on drift wide to try and create 2v1s out wide. But normally, I keep Neymar all on balance. There's no real reason behind it. I just haven't noticed much success with any of them. He doesn't need to get into the box for cross because the R1 square cross doesn't work like that. It has to be to the man at the back post, really. Onto the striker, and I have one big change to make, and that is target man. The reason I have it on target man is so around the edge of the box, when you're looking for that final pass, for him to come to feet and then turn and do the work. R9 is obviously 5-star skills, 5-star weak foot, which I think is so key in FIFA. And basically, water's essential, shelter's essential. Having at least 4-star weak foot on FIFA is also essential if you want to play up front. And on to formation number 2, which is the 5-2-1-2. So you're probably thinking, Tom, what on earth are you doing? Why are you playing 5 at the back? Basically, I go 5-2-1-2 against anyone else that is using 5 at the back. That's because I struggle against it. Or if they're using a lot of through balls and they're just spamming through balls, because that's what people love to do in FIFA 21. I use this. The same styles are balanced and balanced as always. The width is 5 in defence. Basically, we don't want to be too wide, don't want to be too narrow. The third centre-back means we don't have to narrow it up as much. So 5 width, although it's not much difference to 4. The depth stays at 6. We go high again. We're still trying to press high. The width is at 4 in attack. And this is because you don't really use your fullbacks too much in the 5-2-1-2. You get it out to them and you use them. But then the aim is how quickly can you get it back inside to cause damage with the 5 players in the middle. I'm talking the centre mids, cams, and the 2 strikers. Players in the box is 5. I've obviously explained that already. Corners 2, free kicks 2, 5-2-1-2. Into the instructions, same thing applies for the keeper, as does the centre backs, where they are all on stay back whilst attacking. You know this, I know this. And for my left wing back, I have them on balanced everything. Although, if your left wing back is your more attacking fullback, then I would put it on join the attack. As you can see with my Semedo, I have him on join the attack because sometimes this was Rashford when I was using Rashford. I think it's definitely worth having on because one person always wants to join the attack. Although I don't have it on both because sometimes if they're both absolutely flying forward, then your defenders are massively exposed. I like the idea of keeping 4 in defense, although you may actually prefer having both on join the attack, because then it starts working more like a 3-5-2. And onto the right DM, as always, this is the stay back whilst attacking. We always keep that back because he's the stiff one of the two. However, the one noticeable change you'll see is that I actually have cover wing. The reason for cover wing, if the centre-backs can deal with themselves, 3 is more than enough in that situation. You don't need 5 crowding that area. And if your fullback, particularly the one that's on join the attack, gets exposed, you'd hope that your centre mids can go out there and cover the space. For the left DM, it's the exact same instructions, but it's balanced. In this formation, I don't really use these players because obviously Felix as a centre mid would not be great, so you won't see me use this much. And as the left DM is the less stiff one, the more of a ball player, I put him on balance to go and help the boys up front. And if we go into the cam, which is Neymar again, it's the same instructions. However, it is one change, and that is get in the box for cross, because the wingers don't actually get in the box for cross. There's no wingers to do it this time, so I get my cam in there to create that extra body. We go on to the strikers, Mbappe and R9. There is an instruction on Mbappe, drift wide. Because of how narrow the formation is going forward, everyone's just sort of running like that. That was weird and it didn't need to be. Basically, when they're all running like that, I want my players out wide, and obviously Neymar can fill the gap in the middle of them. So Mbappe and R9 are both on drift wide. And R9 is the one on target man, because whenever I want to play the ball to feet around the box, I want R9 to be the one showing for it. So the main changes in this formation is you don't have as many people on comeback on defence, because obviously you've already got 5 defenders. Your strikers are on drift wide, and your CDMs are on drift wide, because they've got more space to cover, as obviously they don't have wingers around them. So for that reason, I want them going out the way. And I feel like Neymar can hold it down in midfield, running forward to the strikers. He can fill in the space where the strikers go out wide. But if I had to say one thing about the 5-2-1-2, is only use it when you're really, really uncomfortable in the formation you're using. For example, when people use 5 at the back or 3 at the back, and you can actually notice the tactical change in game, that's when I'd move to it. Or when people are spamming through balls, because this is actually an effective way to stop the through ball spam, as obviously the 3 centre-backs can cover more than what the 2 centre-backs can. And we're now on to my second formation, which is actually one that has become very usable in FIFA 21. It's mainly because of the 2 strikers. You can see it's the 4-4-2 with the 2 DMs. Now, with the 4-4-2, I do actually play this slightly different, but as always, the defensive style is balanced. There's no drop back rats around here. We don't put a press on either. I only tend to do that when I'm down in the second half. The width and depth are actually at 4, which is a bit more narrow. The reason for the 4 depth is because of through balls. I feel like every goal I concede in FIFA 21 is through a through ball or a counter attack. Then we go into the offensive style, and this is actually very different. I go for long ball, but I have good reasoning for it. In a 4-4-2, you cannot keep the ball the way you can in the 4-2-3-1. You can't do the build-up. You don't have that extra body in midfield. So I go long ball to basically get my players running forward quicker and to be more direct. And also another change in 4-4-2, I reduced the width to 3. This is because I find that when you start in a formation that is just a right mid and a left mid, opposed to a right attacking mid or left attacking mid, they are sometimes too wide. And I don't like it at all. I want them nice and tight. I want them coming into the strikers and getting in positions where they can score goals as well. You don't want it to just be your 2 strikers creating chances and having shots. I want my right mid and left mid to be involved. You will also be able to see that with the instructions later on. But for this reason, the width is at 3. The players in the box is the same as always. 5 players in the box. I've explained that. Corners and free kicks, 2 as usual, because obviously you cannot create much from corners. And some of you are probably thinking, why the 4-4-2 with the 2 in brackets? It's basically got 2 DMs instead of CMs. And we go on to the goalkeeper with Alisson, same as always. Gomez and Varane, same as always. Stay back whilst attacking, no need for them. Semedo and Mendy, we're back to the 4-2-3-1 instructions. Stay back whilst attacking. I don't need them getting forward, to be honest. Overlap and underlap is the same case as earlier. I want them to mix it up depending on where my right mid or my left mid is. I don't want them to make the same run every time. And also in long ball, your players tend to move further forward up the pitch. If I had balanced fullbacks and long ball, my right back and left back just wouldn't be an option for the ball. They'd be way too high starting positions. We wouldn't be able to play out from the back. And we go on to the right defensive midfielder, also known as the stiff midfielder, Patrick Vieira. He's on stay back whilst attacking, balanced. He's actually on cover centre again because your centre-backs are a bit more exposed. You don't want the striker getting it to feet. And the reason he's on balanced defence instead of cut passing lanes is because cut passing lanes is a bit more conservative. And with 3 midfielders, you can afford to be like that. But with 2, you have to go and win the ball. So I've just kept it on balance for this one. My advice for any of you that are looking to change instruction is start on balanced. And if you don't enjoy it, then go to cut passing lanes. I don't think man mark will ever work. It's either got to be balanced or cut passing lanes. The same case for Renato Sanchez. But the one difference is balance, because we want him to get involved with the play a bit more. And on to the wingers in this formation, Mbappe and Felix, the right mid, the left mid. I have these on comeback on defence, and again, it's to try and stop the through balls being played. A lot of the time, the through balls are from the right back to their right midfielder. So if you can bring the 2 wingers back in and they can stop them playing there, then you won't have the problem of being spammed with through balls. Get into box for cross. It works well. I would definitely recommend it. The other thing you could try to also basically make that tactic more like that is the cut inside one here. I haven't used it too much myself. I'd be lying to you if I said I was an expert with it. But I think cut inside is definitely something that you can try as well. Basically, emphasis on wingers getting involved in the play and not just standing out wide and being too far away from things to affect it. They're also on balanced support. I would never really put these on getting behind and come short, and that is because I choose the runs myself using L1 and R1 and also the manual runs. And we're now on to striker number 1, which is R9. My 5-star skill and my 5-star weak foot, which is why he's on target man. The other striker is on the same instructions without the target man, so stay central is the key here. Basically, 4-4-2 is a very wide formation. Obviously, you have your right mid, your left mid, your fullbacks as well, and there's not as much centralized play. It's not as narrow. So for this reason, I keep the strikers on stay central to keep the 2 centre-backs occupied. So if we wrap up the 4-4-2, I keep it nice and narrow when I play with it, because it's a naturally wide formation as it is. I go long ball, and I always prefer long ball over fast build-up, because I think long ball still has a bit of method behind it, whereas fast build-up is literally just pass forward and hope for the best. With long ball, you can still have decent options, and you don't have to completely just go forward every single time. You're going to have to go sideways or backwards once or twice. And that's it really. And our final tactic is the gung-ho tactic, kitchen sink. We're throwing everything at the opponent. It's the constant press one. It's the one that we're going to go for. Last 10-15 minutes when we need a goal or 2. You're down in a game. You need goals. Here we go. Width is 6 in defence. I mean, to be honest, defensive logic is out the window. I mean, you can put this to 10. Same with the depth if you want. Just basically have them really high, because players are going to go out wide when they're attacking you. High defensive depth, because obviously you need your team to be as high as possible, trying to win that ball back. And then offensive style, we're going to long ball. And I go long ball over fast build-up, because I believe long ball has a little bit more logic to it. When you're on fast build-up, it's a little bit too quick. Like, there's no options, there's no proper options, and you still need to make a few passes to get into the box. You can't just like kick the ball upfield. And the width I keep fairly narrow in attack, because obviously you want everyone in goal scoring opportunities. In a 4-2-2, it's really useful that the 2 cams actually drive towards goal as well, and they overlap the strikers. So that's why the width is low, because you want them to do it. Players in the box is at 7. Realistically, no different as always. Corners and free kicks, we're all out. Just put these all to the top, because you might as well just throw anything you possibly can at it. With our defenders, nothing changes again. These are still stay back. These are going to be the only 2 defensive players now. We go to the fullback, and it's join the attack on both. They're going to be bombing forward a hell of a lot, because they're going to provide that extra width. We just have to take risk. All the logic that I've given you for the last 70 minutes of the game is now out the window. For the right centre mid, Patrick Vieira, he's actually on balance. He's not on get forward, because as much as I want everyone forward, he's not really the man I could do with scoring the chance. Like, he needs to be involved in the build-up. So he is on balance, and he's on cover wing because of how narrow we are in attack. And when people are trying to hold leads, they do it from playing out wide. That's the way of holding a lead. So you need your CDMs to go out wide and try and nick the ball back. So Vieira and Sanchez are going to be on cover wing, but Sanchez is going to be on get forward. He needs to be getting in the box every single time possible. And if we go on to the cams, these are on basic defense support. Some people think, oh, he should be on stay forward, but it doesn't actually work like that. You need them to come back and defend still. If you put them on stay forward, they're useless at getting the ball back. Also, get in the box for cross, as always. You know how it is. Every man in the box. And then R9, target man, stay central. we want them to be on the 2 centre-backs again. It's about isolating them centre-backs. So R9 stays central. Mbappe stays central, but he's not on target man. I only have 1 player on target man. I don't normally do 2. So basically, for the 4-2-2 ultra attacking, you need to press, but you also need a little bit of structure. So make sure one of your centre mids stays in a sort of shape, and don't put everyone on stay forward. Get the fullbacks to join the attack. Use the D-pad team press as well, because obviously, just in case the constant pressure doesn't work to the full effect, I always get the team press on as well. It's just defensively, you do need a bit of structure for it to succeed and to actually win the ball back. And there we have it. They are the custom tactics that I've been using in FIFA 21. To be honest, I don't change them too much. I might change a few instructions in game, or I might change a little bit, but nothing too drastic. That is what I stick to. Let me know in the comments if you do find any difference in the tactics. What I would say with custom tactics is every person has a different tactic. Just because mine works well for me might not necessarily work for you, but I'm happy to give you the information and for people to test them out. And I hope you've all enjoyed watching. I'll catch you on the next video. Until then, don't forget to hashtag it.